Welcome to the show.
We are talking about... Well, we already talked about this. It's I don't know what the label of this conflict is called. Does it have a label yet, Jono?
The Siege of Marawi?
The Siege of Marawi.
Probably.
We talked about a few weeks ago when it very first happened.
The crisis on Mindanao.
But it's still going.
Yes.
Which, Jono, take us away.
Okay, so we were talking about it last time, and it was actually pretty vague because it had only just happened, I guess. So there wasn't a lot of information that was coming out.
Right.
But all we knew back then was that the Philippine government had been trying to capture this terrorist called Isnilon Hapilon. I don't know, I'm definitely not saying that right.
Yeah.
But he was like the head of Abu Sayyaf, which is a kidnapping and bombing group. And they're trying to capture him in this city called Marawi, which is the only Muslim majority city in the Philippines.
Right.
It's in the most southernmost island, Mindanao.
Mm.
And in the process, all these militants had come out and like taken over the city while they were trying to capture this guy.
Mm.
And it was really vague on like how many people there were, but it's turned out there's probably about 500 militants that have captured this city, and it was actually part of a plot sort of linked with Islamic State. It's kind of vague on that at the moment, whether they're actually like part of Islamic State or they just want to be part of Islamic State. But their idea was similar to how IS started, where they took over Mosul in Iraq, and then they kind of expanded from there. That's what they were trying to do here. So it turns out they'd actually been planning this for ages. It wasn't just because this guy was getting captured. They'd set up all these caches of like weapons and like food and all this ammunition and stuff. They have heaps of ammunition, RPGs. Like they'd set up this whole city. It's got lots of basements because they've had like a rebellion for like 6 years. We talked about last time.
Yeah.
So in the 1970s, there was a big rebellion. So heaps of people made tunnels and like bomb-proof like basements and stuff like that, and they've just like set this place up to like be a fortress.
Wow.
There's like houses where they found like millions of dollars or Philippine dollars, I don't know what they call
in
it,
cash
wow. And like machine gun emplacements that had actually been like bolted in properly. They've got like snipers nests that are properly defended. There's something like 2,000 civilians who are still trapped in the area that is controlled. They control about, I think it was 10% of the city.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're doing so well because of those twin brother guys, right?
Yeah, there's twin brothers that are the Maute brothers. Their dad got arrested, actually. He was on his way to a city, Davos. I think it was Davao. Well, maybe it was in Manila. Anyway, not important. They captured their dad. But yeah, that's one of the groups. Apparently there's like 4 different groups that might have combined to form like a pro-Islamic state, trying to form a caliphate type thing. And that's where it's worrying like even Australia's government, because they're like, oh, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And there actually is quite a lot of groups throughout Southeast Asia where there's like Islamic extremist groups that are trying to like rebel. So even Thailand has it, Indonesia has heaps of them. Malaysia is a predominantly Muslim country, so there's a lot of volunteers. They've killed like 130 odd of these terrorists, and probably like 30 something Philippines soldiers have died, and 20 civilians, I think it was.
Wow.
They have found like Saudi Arabian national, a Yemeni, there's Indonesians, there's people from all over have come to like fight in this, create this caliphate thing.
On the Islamic side.
Yeah, on like the extremist side.
Yeah.
So is there plan to conquer the city, call it home base, and then from there keep going?
Yeah.
I think that's what they've already done, but now they're just entrenched, and the Philippine military is trying to get it back, right?
Yeah, the Philippine military is, I guess, contained them. And they're killing a lot of them as well. So I think they will win, but it's a lot bigger than we thought it was, I guess, at the start.
Yeah.
They have started getting weapons and stuff from the United States as well.
The Philippines have.
Send them weapons and stuff to fight them. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's some pretty crazy stories coming out of it as well, because there's like, it's a mixture of Muslim and Christian populations. So there were stories of I don't want to install that.
Don't do it.
Freaking Apple.
Don't update.
Bloody Apple.
You're later. No, but there is stories of like people, they're trying to get like Muslim kids as part of their like militia, like make them fight.
Jeez.
And there was these Christians who had to hide out, and there was this guy who like hid like 70 Christians. Muslim guy who hid 70 Christians in his basement, and he was like a respected elder of the tribe, the main clan there. So because like the Islamic State soldiers are part of that clan, they actually respect this guy. And when he said they couldn't come in to search, they didn't go in. And then he like got them out as well and crossed a bridge and like tried to get one of the militants to join him.
What a legend.
Like, surrender, but the militant was like, no, this is jihad, we're prepared to die. Jeez. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's insane.
70 is so many people. Like,
yeah.
Imagine trying to fit that many people just in a house.
Yeah, where do you even put them?
Let alone hiding them from crazy people.
Crazy.
Yes.
So the thing is,
his name was Noruddin Alonto Lukman. So what a legend.
What a champion. So the thing is, it's way bigger than they thought. They went in and they thought they'd capture this guy, wipe out a couple of terrorists, like a few dozen.
It just so happened that they were trying to capture this guy when this plot was going to happen.
Yeah, it was kind of luck that they discovered how big this actually is, right?
Yeah, and they kind of triggered them to like actually have to enact their plot early, I think. The idea was that it was going to be worse. And they managed to sort of force their hands to go early, which meant that it wasn't as bad, maybe.
Yeah.
And the Philippine army, I guess, was there already because they're trying to capture this guy. So they had a bit of a quick response to it.
Do you think they have anywhere near the sort of support they need to establish this sort of capital in the Asian region?
Duterte's so hardcore, I can't imagine them ever actually winning, right?
Yeah, he's like... Yeah. So...
He spends lives. Very much so, right?
I mean, they have to fight, I guess, because you can't just let one of your cities get taken.
Yeah.
There's 20 million people on this island, a lot of Muslims, but there's a lot of Christians as well. I don't think most people are at that extreme, but apparently because there was two main rebel groups we talked about last time, they're in talks with the government, like peace talks. But because of that, I think some of the younger people might be more drawn to the extreme groups that are not in peace talks and are actually fighting.
Yeah.
And I guess that comes down to the psychology that young people are more susceptible to that kind of...
Radicalization.
Yeah, radicalization. Yeah. Like, maybe if they don't have like enough jobs and the economy's not doing that well, they're more likely to turn to that sort of stuff. But then there's a lot of hate preachers out there and maybe they listen to the wrong person.
So if the military wasn't there fighting them and these guys got to do what they want, what would they be doing? They'd be set up, they'd be holed up in there, and then they'd be
set up. They'd probably set up Sharia law, and then they'd say, we're the caliphate and you have to come join us, which is what Islamic State did.
Yeah.
They said they're a caliphate. It's kind of part of their like Armageddon vision for the end of the world, is this caliphate gets formed and then there's a massive battle. For Islamic State, it's in Raqqa. That's where they think it's going to happen. That's why they kept picking fights. That's why they wanted America to invade them. That would have been like... Because when the West... They set up the West as the enemy. If the West puts boots on the ground and like attacks them, it fits right into their vision of the apocalypse. And they're like, every Muslim has to join our side now. So that's their recruitment tool. Because you can sell that story. Right. Look, this is the end. You're a Muslim. You have to go fight. So it was probably a really good thing that America didn't do that.
Do you know what peaceful Muslim people's perspective is on that specifically?
That it's stupid, probably.
Well, you'd hope so. But, like, do you think they're actually converting a lot of people that way?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
but a lot of these London guys were, like, one preacher. So, like, it doesn't take much, but, like, apparently a lot of the London terrorist attacks are traced back to a single Muslim preacher whose videos were on YouTube and stuff.
Far out.
One of these guys had travelled there or something like that to London. Yeah. And I think the Australian guy had also been influenced by him too.
The Melbourne guy?
Yeah, that Melbourne terrorist attack. Well, the Melbourne idiot who took a prostitute hostage.
So it's kind of a template that ISIS have set up in Syria.
Yes.
That they're trying to play out.
They're trying to like set up these Sharia law caliphates around. Yeah.
Far out.
What's the how do we get rid of them without killing lots of innocent people? Or can we?
Or like soldiers, like 10 of the soldiers were killed by a Philippine government airstrike. That accidentally hit them.
Because you can't pinpoint people when you're dropping bombs from the air.
Rich.
Yeah, and they're probably not as sophisticated as, say, the Americans.
Yeah, and the bombing is not working because of all the tunnels.
Yes.
Right, so they're all just underground.
So and they set up they stockpiled a lot of stuff in Islamic schools and mosques where there's a rule apparently the government can't bomb them. Like the government has these rules of engagement where they won't bomb these particular
Religious
places, and they
places,
knew
yeah.
that, so they'd gone in and put heaps of stockpiles in them.
Which sucks that they're taking advantage of that when that seems like a good law to have.
Yeah.
It's smart, but it's war, so
Yeah.
They do it. That
Stop
same
wars.
kind of thing was happening in like Gaza and things where like militants would use civilians as human shields. They know that a government will not want to be bombing civilians. They'll go near civilians. They'll use them as a shield. So they're doing the same thing here. There's like 2,000 of them.
Gee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any predictions or anything with how it's like timeline of ending, or has everyone just got no idea anymore?
I mean, Duterte's like, if it takes 10 years, I'll take 10 years.
Wow.
It shouldn't
Really?
take 10 years.
He
I'd
seems like the
imagine
kind of
their
guy who
supplies
wants like to get it done.
He did.
now.
He wanted it done last week, but that
Yeah.
deadline
The 10 days.
expired. No, he was a 1 week, and then he was
Shit.
like giving speeches to their army to like go and kill everyone.
Yeah.
And if you need anything, call me.
Wow.
Whatever you do, I'll take responsibility for it. So yeah.
Wow.
Don't
At one
worry
point, he
about
got in trouble because he's like, if you rape someone, I'll take responsibility.
He said
I'll get in
that.
trouble. Yeah.
This guy is out of control.
If you want to steal, like some people were accusing the army of like stealing stuff from
Wow.
people's houses, but they did hand in those millions of dollars that they found in that house.
Ooh.
So that's probably
That's
maybe that's
something.
not
Or
true.
did they? How much did they really find?
Billions.
2 million.
But if it's terrorist money, they can steal it.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything else on that one?
No, not that I've got.
Sweet.
Stuff terrorists. I hope they all die.
Yeah, and does it make? Is it weird for you guys because it's a lot closer to us?
I didn't realize the Philippines was that close to us.
It's closer, and it's quite closer than like.
It'll be the closest Muslim country,
Shouldn't we be more worried about Indonesia?
Yeah, but there isn't like
but this isn't happening. Like
ISIS,
this sort of
militants
crazy
taking over
radicalization.
it.
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
It's still pretty far, I guess.
It's still pretty far.
We're
and
pretty remote.
Like Julie Bishop was trying to make it seem like we should be more concerned,
I'm sure she would love
but
that.
it was probably.
Hey, if we sent soldiers there, I'd be all for it, if that's what you're asking.
Our soldiers are helping train the Philippines army people
Good.
in
Awesome.
certain tactics.
Because it's like, it seems like we never have our own war to fight. We always just go help people, right?
Pre Duterte, we like America, Philippines were really close allies. Australia would have been like right in there because we're basically whatever America does.
But he's a bit
We're
too.
in.
He's a bit too crazy for us to support him right away. Is he a bit too out there?
Yeah, it's hard to say. There's a whole thing with China going on. Anyway.
Of course there is.